So guys, I've seen your comments. You guys are going off. You're telling me, hey Barack, you know Bob. There's a younger one. I'm like, what's going on? There's a younger Bob? Yes, there is. And a lot of comments are coming in through on my videos saying there's this fantastic guy out there making a lot of noise. He's been making the noise since he was 15. Yes, most people are doing their GCSEs. They're going football training, but this guy's out there preaching, not just to young people, he's preaching to adults. Yeah, he's out there giving his opinion to politicians. He's out there working with people who might even serve in the parliaments. So, of course, when those people emerge, it's important for us to hear their story, broadcast it everywhere, because these are the young people who will soon lead the country. And yes, I got your message. Young Bob is on the show today. Yes, that's right. Thank you so much, Bob, for coming on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, but firstly, flattery aside, if I were to run the country, I would bankrupt it and be severely corrupt.
Don't say
That's all
that.
I'm saying.
Don't say that, bro. So you've been everywhere. And I think that's great. And
Just people always say to me, how do I get involved in activism? Or like, how do I randomly see you? Because like Speaker's Corner and politics are two different spheres. So like randomly someone from Speaker's Corner or in my parish will notice me randomly in Manchester doing a demonstration with other famous people. So they'll be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm telling them, look, political activism and religious activism just requires firstly a degree of sacrifice in terms of like finances, giving up some of your money to kind of travel. The second, your time. And if you have a passion for this, and certainly with young people, like a lot of young people who are way more educated, way more eloquent, they're online because they can't get their backsides outside the door. So I'm not a rare case. I have just found out the formula for success is getting outside the front door, essentially.
That's right. I think I totally believe that. Totally. No, before I get what you've been doing, sorry, like what's happening right now today, I want to go back a little bit. Of course, you're only, 17, so there's not like long years to go back to, right? I'm saying that respectfully as well, and in a good terms. And I think you're doing this at 17-year-old is freaking sick. So just take me back where you're like in high school. Well, hopefully you're not in high school right now, are you?
Oh no, because they'd probably kick me out by then. I would not survive. You know, in fact, sometimes I wondered if I stayed on to like A levels on the current high school I was in, if I would have actually survived for long enough. But no, so interestingly enough, the way that I kind of, well, firstly, I think people are Christian when they come down to the conservative pipeline. And what I mean by this is that thanks to our American cousins, politics in terms of open dialogue has become particularly popular. So I kind of grew up with like figures like Steven Crowder, more controversially Ben Shapiro. I may look at these people differently.
So the Charlie Kirks of the world.
Yeah, of course. Like I look at them a bit more differently as I'm a bit older. I don't kind of idolize these people, but
The
seeing
worst way
their
to do it.
yeah, like seeing their goal, having a change my mind stand, kind of inspired me at a very young age to kind of have discourse with people and talk to random people about whatever they disagreed with. Now, combine that with the fact that I was a drama student,
Drama student.
a very liberalized area. So I was bullied from quite a young age. As you can
Right.
tell, my character's probably not the most agreeable with some of the people. Severely. Like I had been sent to hospital 3 times and been knocked out, and the police had been called. So
Is this in high school or in primary
yes,
school type?
secondary school, secondary
Okay.
school.
All right.
So when that happened, my instinct was to find a group, surround myself with good people, and the entire ethos surrounding drama school is kind of, well, you can act like anyone, anything. The people in these drama communities are from various diverse areas, so you can get involved. Anyone can. You can kind of have the magic of the theater and transform yourself into a better character. And for whatever reason, I had a particular good singing voice with like deep toned characters. So I was doing quite well, but secretly, behind the scenes, and it was quite obvious now looking back on it,
Right.
they all hated my guts. And it was based off one event when I had discussed during Rishi Sunak's government their jokes towards a woman being a biological human female.
Oh man.
And I kind of, and at the time, I was almost like, well, I've got to take pity or, of course, consider the tone that I kind of convey myself in, because this is a liberal area. I'm a hard, staunch Catholic conservative at the time. So let's just be pragmatical in my opinion, but still state it because I love my opinion and I love
That's right.
speaking to people about it. So all I said was, look, there are some people who, under your position, you agree that the definitions are subjective, would then pose a strict gender dogmatism in which both gender and sex are synonymous. That's all I posted on a WhatsApp group chat I was added to.
I think that
Now,
makes sense.
yeah, it makes sense. And I wasn't even saying that I believe this. I just said, and this is what most people do. They're trying to be sly. They just appeal to other people believing in it. And then I looked at the group chat, and then after that, we
It
got
was
sent
fire.
off. Yeah, after this, we got sent off. The last day of the performance, which would be the last time I ever saw these people. This was the last year of college, last year of year 11. So just nearly finished my GCSEs. Just final day of the production, final production I'll ever do in this drama community. And to give context, unfortunately, and God bless that boy's soul, they're the boy who attempted to kill himself in my secondary school. This happened the week before. And a bunch of year 11 students in this drama production had approached me, essentially rehashed certain conspiracies, let's call them, where they had leaked pictures of me, photoshopped them, said, oh, no one likes this guy, very, very childish things. But then went on to say, on the week of someone committing suicide within the school, you should go kill yourself. And that was at a very vulnerable time in my life where, of course, I wasn't feeling the best. No one really liked me. So for the people that I believe accepted me, it was incredibly a shame. And that was
Yeah.
where I was like, you know what? Why should I appease people who don't particularly agree with me at all?
That's
Like,
right.
why should I ever concede any ground where no ground is due to be conceded to? So
Exactly.
and I had this idea in my head for the summer. I was like, all right, for the summer, I want to get a camera. I want to film the demonstrations I go to because I was going to one or two at the time.
Right.
And then I started because I was very big. If any kid that knew me when I was young, I was particularly fat. So when I was going
You
to the
mean
gym,
fat? All right. Yeah, I thought you when you say you were very big, I was thinking, which way? You mean social media wise or?
no,
Okay, you was
I
fat.
was
All right.
very fat when I was a kid. So in a kind of way to lose weight, when I was like going to the gym or doing cardio or whatever, I was watching conservative videos, and this is why I believe conservatism always leads to Christianity.
I
And
think
then
so.
I randomly approached Soko Films, the YouTube channel for
Yeah, the guy
yeah,
who goes out there and restream the
yeah,
the
the
speaker
Christian
corner.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I watched this guy, and you talk to any single speaker that newly comes out from Speaker's Corner, they'll give you the same consistent story. I was watching Bob, and he was
Bob.
speaking,
Yeah.
he was speaking to Muslims, and I was like, it's interesting how like religion kind of corresponds to one another. And I was comparing it to the kind of response that conservatism gives to the liberals, and I was like, okay, it's interesting. Islam and Christianity, in its way that it interacts, is the way that the conservatives and liberals kind of interact. And I saw that in the way that the conservatives were kind of leading the discussion in terms of debate, the Christians were within Islam. So I got incredibly obsessed with like learning religion. I was Catholic at the time, but very loosely. So I was absolutely obsessed with learning religion. I'd speak to Muslims, I'd speak to sheikhs, I would go online, I'd go on TikTok. I would just say, look, what is your position? What is my position? What are the arguments you have? How have you seen people respond it? And I spent like 3 months staying up all night. I barely had any sleep. I've never felt sleep depravity until that summer coming out into year 11. And then come like 3 months in, I think I was like fully prepared. I was like, I asked my dad, like, let's go Speaker's Corner. I went there. I'll be honest, I didn't perform as well as I should have. But it kind of laid down that although you knew the knowledge intellectually, in terms of social communication, wasn't the best. So I took
Yeah,
another
I mean,
month break.
you got feedback, right? I think that's the most important part.
Yeah. I took a week break, then, oh no, a month break, sorry. Then I immediately came back. First discussion I had was with a Muslim apologist called Hashim. He's been here for like 15 years. He's the co-owner of one of the biggest Muslim channels. I absolutely wrecked him. And my rhetoric was incredibly in line with Bob because the way I learn is kind of just assuming the way that someone would think and speak. Because then I just, and this is kind of towards the point where like unintentionally sometimes I like idolize certain figures in that I kind of just adopt everything about them. So I was speaking like Bob. I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, you've spoken over me, therefore I'm going to speak over you. That type of rhetoric. And the cameraman for JC, firstly, I was a massive fanboy.
Just to stop you there,
Yeah.
I think that is the way people learn. Because my story, I don't want to stop you here because it's your thing, but a lot of people, because I get family members, maybe girlfriends, will be like, hey, you want to learn this thing? You've been watching this guy for too long. Or you talk like him now. Now you want to have your routine like him. You want to wake up the same time as him. That's the whole point. I want to be better than him. So I have to do what he does 2 times. So of course, I think if for anybody watching this, I think that's the best way you learn. And then after that, you can't be exactly like him because the DNA and all these things that contribute, your lifestyle, the people that you're around, will obviously contribute to that, which will make you not turn out exactly like him. But go on.
Yeah, and don't think it's unoriginal because Bob essentially did the same thing with Dr. J. Smith, who came before him.
Yeah.
And I imagine if I spoke to Dr. J. Smith, he would probably say, well, I took someone as my mentor and kind of did the same thing that he was doing, and so on and so forth. There's infinite regress of family-like figures who you've properly assumed. Like, there's a reason why most boys kind of inherit the characteristics of their fathers because they mostly look up towards their fathers.
That's right, yeah.
JC, I was fanboying over all these people. Firstly, I'm a massive fanboy. Like, I'm more of a fan of other people.
Who do you like the most? Give me the top 3. Give me the top 3. Take your time with it because I'm sure there's a lot of people that you like. You're going to have to scrutinize some of them. But give me the top 3.
In terms of Speaker's Corner? Or
in terms of your fan, the people who you look up to.
Well, I take it from different elements, right? So in the way that people kind of do content. So firstly, I admire...
Take your time.
It's a strange question.
It's a hard one. Line them up.
It's a weird one as well because there's such admirable different qualities. And I like studying people's characters. So there's so much admirable qualities in each person, but then they also have their flaws. So I couldn't like directly assume identically someone because then I just think I would have problems with myself. So I'll give you 5 candidates, and maybe that will suffice.
Okay, all right. Let's add the 2. All right, give me 5.
Okay. So Bob, in terms of his ministry, Thomas Apologia, not so well known in terms of his like way he speaks and his knowledge.
Right.
Nick Tenconi, just simply because I believe he's a genuine Catholic, and to be part of a political party and not be someone that is a career man, I think that's interesting.
Yeah, he's out there as well,
Yeah, I want to say it's a bit controversial, but I've always respected Tommy Robinson in the way that he's locally grounded. When he messaged me about Camden Town, it just seemed like to me that this is someone you would actually speak to at Luton.
It looks like a guy who you... It's not... Because I think when somebody is famous, they kind of like keep their time to themselves and be like, hey, like, hey, this is me type. But I think Tommy Robinson, I've had a conversation with him too. I think he's a guy who you walk into the shop and who will be like, yes, lad, type of guy. So yeah, I do. So that's number 4.
Yeah, and then number 5 is a split between 2 people. And the reason why I say this is because it kind of influenced me in my journey to orthodoxy. So that would be Sig and Ananda Apologetics, 2 individuals who I've had face-to-face times with, give me a lot of resources to look at. And I think they kind of embody the same character type, being devoutly orthodox and people who are in terms of piety could probably never reach in terms of virtue. So yeah, I admire different people for different reasons. It's a weird list, but
No,
yeah,
that's your list, and
yeah,
it's contributed this little like a like a puzzle. It's
yeah.
making this image who you are today, and I think that's what has led you here. So a great list for yourself, because look where you are now, and I'm sure you're gonna find more people who you like, and you're probably gonna like them and be like, okay, I like this guy, and you're
I
probably
love
gonna learn
everyone.
from them. Who
I love everyone.
you
Well,
do? All right, let's talk
well,
about them.
but firstly, like I want to quickly say the fact is that we admire speakers and debaters so too much. Like you could not ask me to plumb a toilet, but someone else could, and that's way more of a useful skill. So why do we not fanboy over plumbers or construction workers or bricklayers or teachers?
I think
I think
I
they
like
deserve more admirability than someone like me. I just know how to talk out my ass, essentially.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think myself as well. So when it comes, I anybody who teach the next generation, anybody who goes out there and educates somebody younger than them, I instantly just like, yo, I like you, bro. Even if they're doing the wrong, even if they're teaching the wrong thing, I just feel like, oh, this guy is good. Maybe he could have changed the way he's teaching. Maybe he could not teach people that there's 60 something type genders. That is crazy, but maybe we can change that way of teaching that information that is spreading. But I think anybody that teach, like, that's why I think I wanted to be, because when you're like right now yourself, the reason why people look up to you, the reason why people will look up to you, many other, is because you're out there not just keeping the information that you've learned to yourself, but you're out there educating others as well, or maybe opening other people's mind to a new perspective or to a new way of thinking. Same thing with Tommy Robinson, and same thing with all these people that you named. And I think that's why we all have learned from these guys, and we've became who we are today. And I think when you say plumbers and teachers, yes, I agree. Teachers should get more respect, more administration from to them than plumbers. But somehow they don't, because I think we're in this situation where people like to take more than like give back. So it's like, hey, just teach me what I like, what I want to learn, and f off type of society that we've built. But let's switch it to what's going on now. So Epping, right
Yes.
now, I'm not sure. Are you from Epping yourself? Are you local there?
No,
No,
I wasn't local at all, and that's why. So I did speak at this. I did speak at Canary Wharf.
right?
The
I've
two
seen it.
reasons we can go to the two reasons why I spoke there. But the reason why I didn't speak at Epping was because firstly, it was in response to a crime that had been committed against a 14-year-old girl. Now, given that's the case, there needs to be more, like for example, when we commemorate the losses of World War One and Two, well, how do we celebrate such an immense occasion? We give a moment of silence.
That's right.
When we're at a funeral, we give a moment of silence. So when it comes to events like these, firstly, it should be down at a local level, and secondly, it should be a consolidatory and also a quiet event where you have all the cameras faced towards the hotel with local people of the community do quiet speeches and consolidatory with an event which essentially abused a 14-year-old girl and is kind of the epicenter of areas which are incredibly not depraved, but not built for us ongoing new population to kind of come in and submerge the local resources. Like these are urban areas with like veterans, with school kids. Like these aren't areas like London, and that's kind of the later rationale to send these people to Canary Wharf. But besides from that, I I just didn't want to inflame the situation because you've seen, of course, right, that people, there's bad actors there, there's people with high
Super.
testosterone
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
by the way, this is not what happened after before 7 o'clock. Before 7 o'clock, it was peaceful. It was mothers, children, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I
After
think.
7 o'clock, it kind of scattered, and you still had the bad actors there, kind of making up a scene and trying to inflame the situation out of essentially nothing. Thursday was different because Thursday had the stand up to racism thugs with the Antifa lot, which
Yeah,
supposedly they're opposed, but they were bossed in on the same police. So I don't know. But the fact is that because they were able to march in parallel with the demonstrators at the hotel and the heavy police presence, it was bound to cause a scene. So
yeah, very
Thursday
for
was
sure.
different. Thursday was, of course, the result of two opposing forces being enabled by the police to kind of mix together. Now, if you're a police liaison officer, if you've at all went to any demonstration anywhere that is slightly controversial, and most topics are, if it's at a protest, you would know that counter demonstrators are far, 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 far away. Or you
Yeah,
have a line of police essentially being
yeah,
their VIP security guards. So
you,
the issue of them being directly next to the demonstrators on that day demonstrates to me that Thursday is not like any other demonstration in Epping on Sunday or at Canary Wharf, because all of them were very peaceful. There were speeches given. You kind of had the spirit rise of these communities because you kind of saw some wins, especially in this
yeah,
stand-up race guys ran away after 5 minutes.
yeah.
So uh, Epping was just not appropriate. I was there. I was quiet. Straight by
Right.
Mike is the cameraman for Tommy Robinson said that I was going. So I just came from
Th-
corner to there and like, yeah.
yeah, that's I totally respect your take on that. The reason why you did not speak and the reason why it should have been more local.
Yeah.
I and the bad actors. I think the bad actors comes after. I think when it hits 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you start seeing people pulling up in shorts, pulling up in hiding their face. Especially the younger version, younger guys who are like active. They probably just had a beer. They probably got 5 Lucozade in their system. They are ready to cause chaos, not because they
Well,
came there to. Not
it
because
depends
they.
if they've already chucked the Lucozade at the police officers already.
Yeah, that,
I was there, and there's like 5 Lucozade bottles being chucked around the place, and I was like, huh, Lucozade is popular amongst certain bad actors.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right. Usually, I see when the protest begins, there's mothers, fathers, young people, like young people. You see young girls, like probably the age of like 7, 8. They're there holding the flag, doing the stuff. People are giving speeches. People are singing. Once the singing finish, I think that's where the problem starts. I mean, that's when you see one guy throw something and everybody's like, "Hey, great idea, let's off." Yeah, and I think that hijacks the
it
story.
hijacks the media coverage as well. So just
Yeah,
quickly, what did you see out of Epping? There was not one headline that would just speak about the woman and the illegal migrant, of course, within this case, right?
no,
It
no,
was
yeah,
just far
about
right buggery.
yeah,
So it doesn't help. It doesn't give us any media legroom. And supposedly the people's press, the people with the iPhones going around, were the ones which unfortunately weren't recording the hotel, which we wanted. They were recording the fights. Like we always go on about, well, the people's press enables us to record things that the mainstream media wouldn't film. But out of the things that aren't filmed, the things that you're not filming, is it the things that you want to be seen associated with your side? Because there are things that the mainstream media won't film which would benefit our side. And then on the direct reverse, there are things that wouldn't help. And sometimes because it's more popular, because divisive content kind of pushes in the algorithm,
that's right.
they film the things that they don't want to be seen. I don't want to see one random guy out of 100 people peacefully demonstrating him whacking a police car with a Union Jack. What I want to see is your camera being faced right in front of the Epping Hotel, where police are currently guiding and securing a hotel which would be complicit extensionally in this crime of SA, and also protecting stand up to racism thugs which were there to aggravate the situation. So there
Yeah,
needs to be a critical rethink in terms of like
I think
the
that
press.
I think that'll be hard. And here's some reason why. Because doing YouTube for like since I was 14 years old, I mean, I know that even myself, with a team here of 4 people, we know which video goes viral. Like sometimes if we have an advert, we know where to insert the advert. We know like, hey, this topic, yeah, we'll get like 2K views. This topic is gonna get it. Why? Because maybe we're doing this, or maybe it's about this. So we know, and I think the public also makes it hard for the people filming, because they don't watch the normal videos. They don't watch. If I was to go film some guy singing and having fun and just protesting, for some reason that doesn't get click. But if I was to title as like, hey, Epping is going off, somehow that video will just hit. And because of people who wants to get hits after hits after hits, they don't focus on the peaceful one. They're like, hey, just film that one. Film the guy taking off the
film that crazy guy.
Yeah, film
the guy
that crazy guy.
Even the practical solution, mass immigration. No, that's boring. It's got facts and numbers.
Just a quick pause, guys. I need your help. We need your help, because this machine have tried everything. They've deplatformed us once. They've shadow banned us, as you can see from the views. Blacklisted us, and the channel remains demonetized. You want to know why? Because we report on something that they don't want you to know. But guess what? We still here. We still standing, broadcasting raw, unfiltered truth right through the technocrat machine that they want you to live in. They want your system. They want everybody to live in this machine, so then they can surveil and control and see what you're saying, see what you're not saying. But we resist that. But I have to be honest with you. Yeah, we are running a little bit thin, and we need your help to keep this channel alive, because the bills, they can't pay themselves, as we already know it. The system, the server, the little crew that we got, the little studio that we have right now, it's all powered by you. All the donation that we get, it keeps this alive. It keeps the crew alive. And yes, I get it. They want to silence us. They want to shut down the show. Because, yeah, it's the last firewall between you and the psychological warfare that they call news. Because we tell the truth. We don't control the news. We give it to you raw, and you make your own decision with it. But here's the good news though, because there's many of us than them. Because we got a lot of freedom-loving warriors here listening to us like you. So I'm asking you, every listener who can chip in a few quid a month or once, not only gonna make us survive, but expand the team and expand the mission. So I'm asking you to keep us on air, keep the mission alive, and keep this voice on chain. Not just my voice, many other people who are asking for help too. So if you're able to, if you can, go to the link in the description, the first link in the description, just leave something, leave a donation. It could be 50p, it could be £50, 500, it could be anything. We appreciate it. And I want you to know this is not charity, this is a resistance. We're not here to beg, we're here to fight, as you already been seeing us fight. But with your help, we win, and we always win, always. Let's get back into the video.
Yeah, that's why I can appreciate Speaker's Corner, because it's like people just giving you facts on Christianity. It's not like millions of views, maybe hundreds of thousands of views, and you get a small little nice supportive community. But yeah, what you're saying is totally correct. It's people need to pay their bills. So what is better for the thumbnail? Bloody geezer jumping on the back of a police van, or a bunch of
nice look
hotel members, people part of the school community all complaining about
it's like, of course the thumbnail wouldn't look good if you see grandmas holding their hands together and pray. No, that doesn't look good, does it? But when you see a guy pulling up the mirror of the police van, you're like, yes, that one will be clicked on. And I think that's the problem. Now I want to show you something that just broke, literally, I think 40 minutes ago. It just came out.
He's getting it in his AirPod right now.
Reporting. Yeah, so let me switch the screen so then we can get your report on this. This happened yesterday and today.
So this is one of the protesters, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to be arrested. Okay, you're under arrest for Section 2 violent disorder. where offence occurred on the 17th.
This is a person being. I'm assuming I can't hear audio, so I'm assuming it's a person being arrested or being part of the protest, right?
Yeah, it's been arrested.
And also do post-arrest searches. So
Cool boy.
items of clothing you're wearing on the day. What? Understand? Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit you down. Yeah, go on. We're going to have a search round and get on the section 32 page. He's going to come with you. He's going to sit in the back. I didn't know if you wanted me to move up. Oh, no. You've got to go behind this one.
Essex Police protecting and concerning peaceful demonstrators. Rock and roll, baby.
So you see this, yeah? This happened yesterday. So now, this, of course, they got this. The technology is so good now. If you go and pull up the windshield of the police car today, tomorrow you're getting arrested. And I think obviously I'm gonna let you give me your take on this, and I'll give you my thoughts on this as well. What do you think of this? The guy, of course, them going out there and jumping off the car and doing all the crazy stuff. That's not good. Of course, we can all disagree. That's not good. But then the arrest.
I would just say, okay. Hate speech law is something that was always discussed in the United Kingdom. Now, for me, it's incredibly arbitrary. I'll give you a quick anecdote. I'm currently being investigated for hate crime because a Muslim at Speaker's Corner threatened to kill me and Bob. In response, I suggested that his partner beside him was his boyfriend. He tried to report me for inciting racial hatred. He then dropped it to a hate crime. So I'm being currently investigated for a hate crime. I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that I did that. Good luck trying to do that, by the way, because I've done a counter report of you sending me a death threat. But besides from that, police officers described to me the severity of hate crime. Essentially, it has to be a certain threshold of a word being said, which could suggest an intention to be offensive, and the person took that to be offensive, right? So for a Muslim, for me to call them gay, that's suggestive as saying gay is an insult, so just a noun describing someone. But then he found that offensive because according to his faith, sodomy is a sin. So given that, there can be people within one demonstration who's completely peaceful. James Harvey, for example, was one of the organizers of the DIS protest, and I believe now he's being investigated for a hate crime at one of the hotels in Wales for saying that someone is an undocumented alien. So there's a certain threshold. We don't know what the guy's been arrested for, but you can be arrested for saying alien at these demonstrations, and you can be arrested for saying for hitting a police car. In both cases, I don't believe each crime should end in arrest because there's a certain context to which it's given. But certainly with speech, I think as soon as our right to complain is removed from us, we have the right to talk.
Yeah, I think, of course, you didn't hear what the police said. The police said you're under arrested for violent disorder.
Well, that could be interpreted as him marching towards the protest line too violently towards a police officer. That could be saying something suggestive to an officer. And that's the point. The UK law surrounding protests are incredibly ambiguous and loose, that any police officer which gives a weird interpretation of the law can load the judiciary in order for you to be arrested. So that is why we don't have the government institutions right now as protesters, but we do have the public. If I were to get arrested for calling someone gay, the police would load the judiciary, have a lack of evidence, but still find me guilty of it, right?
Yeah. But that's if you plead not guilty.
But the public would still be in outrage regardless of the result, right? They would say, what the hell? You're arresting this random guy, no criminal convictions prior to him, calling him gay. I
didn't think that's a crime, bro.
That the public is always going to be behind you if the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
Yeah, but right now, as you can see, the public is behind the protest. The public is behind Lucy Connolly. The public is behind all these people, but somehow they also get penalized for it.
They have. Okay, let's just say like Tommy Robinson, for example. He's a very good example of this.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's go with that. He had Liam Tufts, which is essentially podcaster.
Yeah, podcaster, Liam Tufts.
Yeah, he was intermediating with him. There was hundreds of thousands of letters of support being sent to him in solitary confinement,
Yeah.
and he handled well because of it. So that's a good demonstration of the public backing him. So
That's right.
yeah, you have to serve your prison time, but fortunately, you've got a platform to complain about it. You have a platform to protest against it, and you have people within your inner circle to kind of support you in this transition to being in prison to being out of prison. So
Right.
the public's with you. Your right to complain is maintaining currently. But the police are going to be against you because right now we have an elected government which is incompetent and right now vilifies your position into being potentially fascists.
Right. We'll get to the government real quick because I think there's a lot to talk about with Case
Oh
Starman.
boy, yeah.
There is. So, but it doesn't change though, because Lucy Connolly, she's still in jail right now as we speak. Her life has been affected. She can't see her daughter. She can't see her husband. The husband, the daughter, the family, they're just sitting at home waiting. Maybe maybe the government might be like, all right, this is unfair now. Let's let them out.
But what would you prefer? Like, would you prefer Lucy Connolly not have the public and not have the police?
I'd prefer her not in jail. I'd prefer her not in jail and the
everyone
public
would
against
prefer
her.
that. That's the very most obvious statement on the planet. But
Yeah.
my point is like you would rather have the public on your side because like let's just say when she comes out of prison, she has difficulties finding a job. Well, you can start a GoFundMe because people are sympathetic towards why you were arrested and your life's messed up. You could get sent a lot of money and you could kind of support yourself through those means. So my point is not to say, well, it's an ideal situation. Just you still have the
I
public
get it.
right to complain.
I get your take on this, but I think not going in is the ultimately win. It's like, hey, you don't have criminal record. You don't have a bogus criminal record on your thing. Yes, I get it. Public can support you. Let's say if you are a public member, let's say somebody like Tommy Robinson, with the support and the people that is being able to waken up, that's great. Because that, I mean, the state created who he was. Because I'm sure when Tommy Robinson was in high school, college, trying to do engineering and stuff, he wasn't thinking, hey, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to get arrested, public is going to support. No, of course not. But the state created him. The state's failure created who he is today. And the public is with him because, hey, somebody needs to change this. And he's been the one very vocal about it. And people rather support than going in the front line. So here we are. But with Lucy Connolly herself, it's not like she was out there marching for years to do this. She just posted a tweet like everybody. I get angry sometimes. I see people getting arrested. I'm like, hey, this is bullshit. Like, say something.
Yeah.
And then if I end up in jail, I'd rather be like, hey, don't put her in jail. Forget the public support. Just don't go to jail. I think right now, this is just one of a lot of raid that the police is doing. And a lot of people will get arrested.
Doing like a tackle down on this because I don't want it to repeat continually. Like if you arrest the protesters, it's a sign of.
So far, they've arrested 16.
Yeah, that's an authoritarian state. Like that's.
So would you
having his opposition and then him quietly stamping down on it? That's like Stalin and the wheat police quietly taking out the people who are having the wheat supply. The farmers. That's like Adolf Hitler slowly taking out the more liberal-minded of his party. Like the whole point is that as soon as you start arresting people that you disagree with, or you try to argue have some issues in terms of social cohesion, it instantly leads to this understanding that you can collectivize authority, you can clamp down on people that pose a threat to it, and this is why you kind of live in this dystopian Orwellian state. And the reason why I'm so acclimatized to it is because I'm young. I was always taught in school, well, you better, better watch out, PHSE class. You better watch out what you say. You can't say homophobic things on Twitter or else, kiddo. Not like you should be saying this as a gentleman, of course, but it's the fact that I should be able to say it. Because why do you think, like, in history, the burning of books, especially in, like, Nazi Germany, was a bad thing? Well, it's because you're destroying history. Now, in the same breath, if you destroy certain behaviors or you don't allow certain behaviors to be enabled, like your hick racist neighbor who may look at you funny down the street, right? Although that's terrible, the fact is that if he exists and isn't sent to prison for what he's doing, you could identify that and teach people from it. And it's the same way of burning books within Nazi Germany. you're burning historical information which could serve to better people as a character.
Yeah, I understand that, but I still disagree with going to jail. It's like
Yeah, of course, everyone is. I don't want to go to jail.
there's 16 people right now
Yeah.
who are not able to, well, go back home.
Yeah, like these
They're not
people,
sitting there and be like, at least I got the support though. You know?
Yeah, like, yeah. I'm just thinking like, hey ho, like, think on the bright side of life, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you ever seen like Mighty Platforms, like the life of bright life? I always look on the bright side of life. That's me because
the
I was always thought this is gonna happen, and I already knew this is gonna happen, and right now this is slowly happening to me. So
I hope
I knew
you
this was gonna
win.
happen.
I don't think you're gonna go to prison. Oh
go straight
shit!
in
I
court.
can't. You
Straight
can't
in
really
court.
say that freely now because you might end up in prison for calling somebody gay. And
Don't worry, mate. I'll be.
it's so
laughing.
funny to say that already. Like,
I would
what?
be laughing in prison, and I'd be screaming. You gotta be screaming down the tree, "Free Bobby, Bobby," or something
But
nonsense
don't
like
worry,
that.
I'll turn up with a placard outside
Yeah.
your jail. Don't worry, I will not jump on a van so we don't end up together in there. But I'll come to protest.
Well,
But-
that'd be like fun, you know, me and you in prison. I always thought that'd be funny. Like, I always look at the people that are with me when police cars come in. It's like, imagine me and him in a police cell together. How would that go? And then I realized
It'll
it'd
be
be too
fun.
funny. Yeah, it'd
It'll
be
be,
fun.
it'll be too funny. Oh my god. That's insane. Now, let's talk about Keir Starmer now. Of course, there's a lot of things to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about the thing that's been on the news. Almost every single news now can't avoid but to talk about it is the illegal migrants. The thing that's burning the country upside down. We've seen this in Northern Ireland, England and Wales, Scotland as well. They're doing it. They're having their trouble too. So, what Keir Starmer has been doing with this one in one out deal, and with the way they can't stop a single boat coming into the country, it's like, do you think this is the best thing they can actually do? Do you think this is like the most they can do? One in one out deal
You're
and
going to
housing
smash
these guys?
gang. After 14 years of Tory austerity, where you're going to smash the gangs by essentially, or a one in one out policy, this essentially, so you have one boat crossing and then one like actual refugee, if I understand that policy correctly. But if these are like the two channels you're talking about and you accept one and you reject the other, that just then means that the one channel is going to be empty whilst the other channel is just going to be full. So like think of like a fraction when you're in secondary school, right? It's just going to be top heavy of people who now see that this is the more viable route, and then they're going to be the ones to take this channel. But then in order to be part and accepted in that channel, the channel that no one's going to has to then apply, be rejected, then sent back. So the issue with, and this is my policy from the very start,
I
is
get-
just like you need like a Calais migration center where you only accept women and children at this moment momentarily.
But they did have that. We did have that, and it was
we did.
scrapped. It was scrapped.
It was
I think,
scrapped.
after
It was offered by the Conservatives.
Brexit.
Yeah, it was offered by the Conservative government. It was scrapped after Brexit. I'm a firm component that we should have kept it, and that we kind of plot on a map statistically where these people come from. We set up a migration center. And by the way, this is like people that claim we don't have safe routes. Go to any ambassador or embassy of the UK. You can claim asylum there. It's an incredibly obnoxiously false claim. But look, let's just say we set up migration centers.
But
where
that's
we
the
vet-
thing, though. But that's the thing, because
Yeah.
if you go to the embassy, UK embassy in France, they're gonna tell you to wait, and they're gonna write your name and your date of birth, whatever, and they'll contact you when
Yeah,
the case gets.
and
built.
that's why you need the
But
Calais
these
migration.
guys,
That's why you need it.
guys are sitting there. They're like, hey, instead of going to the embassy and wait there for a couple months or years, we can just jump in this dinghy and we'll be there instantly. No more waiting.
and that cost her £15,000. But so this is my migration policy. So there's a lot of like small and big things you could do. So firstly, you gotta have the Navy up in the channel. You gotta remove the pull factors. That's just being you're not gonna get a hotel, you're not gonna get a phone, you're not gonna get an Xbox. The third thing would be you set up migration centers to kind of appease the left on it's not safe legal routes. Okay, we're gonna have migration centers. We're gonna have a strict no male only allowed. Right, you're going to have women and children only being accepted in these migration centers. You're going to essentially sanction France for just being complicit in NGOs being randomly set out in the shores of France. It's like essentially supplying these people with everything to go out on a dinghy. If you look, for example, UKIP very recently went to Calais and confronted the NGOs. It's a good laugh if you watch it.
Yeah, I think GB News did that when Patrick Christie went to Cali and exposed exactly what these guys are doing.
Yeah, there's NGOs. They're just like they have crappy little like 2000 or like era cars that they set these people up in, drive them to Calais, and it's like off you go. And then also, I think we either need to declare France an unsafe country or declare war on it if we want to continually suspect that these migrants are coming through persecuted land. There's so many things we could do.
I think
all of it ultimately is just going to get Keir Starmer out of power, which is great, fantastic news.
Just a quick pause, guys. I need your help. We need your help because this machine have tried everything. They've deplatformed us once. They've shadow banned us, as you can see from the views. Blacklisted us, and the channel remains demonetized. You want to know why? Because we report on something that they don't want you to know. But guess what? We're still here. We're still standing, broadcasting raw, unfiltered truth right through the technocrat machine that they want you to live in. They want your system. They want everybody to live in this machine, so then they can surveil and control and see what you're saying, see what you're not saying. But we resist that. But I have to be honest with you. Yeah, we are running a little bit thin, and we need your help to keep this channel alive. Because the bills, they can't pay themselves, as we already know it. The system, the server, the little crew that we got, the little studio that we have right now, it's all powered by you. All the donation that we get, it keeps this alive. This keeps the crew alive. And yes, I get it. They want to silence us. They want to shut down the show. Because, yeah, it's the last firewall between you and the psychological warfare that they call news. Because we tell the truth. We don't control the news. We give it to you raw and you make your own decision with it. But here's the good news though, because there's many of us than them. Because we got a lot of freedom-loving warriors here listening to us like you. So I'm asking you, every listener who can chip in a few quid a month or once, not only gonna make us survive, but expand the team and expand the mission. So I'm asking you to keep us on air, keep the mission alive, and keep this voice on chain. Not just my voice, many other people who are asking for help too. So if you're able to, if you can, go to the link in the description, the first link in the description, just leave something, leave a donation. It could be 50p, it could be £50, 500, it could be anything. We appreciate it. And I want you to know this is not charity, this is a resistance. We're not here to beg, we're here to fight, as you already been seeing us fight. But with your help, we win, and we always win, always. Let's get back into the video. Yeah, but all that is great. But when we left the EU, the Brexit thing, what happened is we lost the Dublin Agreement where we were allowed to deport somebody who crossed from France because they came from a safe country. We were able to deport those guys back. So when we left the EU, the Dublin Agreement, now we couldn't send them back. So now anybody who crosses stays.
Exactly. And that's my problem.
And we could have kept that, but I don't know what Boris Johnson did.
But it's because Boris Johnson and Theresa May led the ticket from the Conservative Party that a deal is better than a no deal. The Brexit Party, and again, this is why I'm heavily skeptical of reform. If you watch Ben Habib, for example, he gives his story of how he was continually convincing Farage to stay in the Brexit game in terms of pushing the Conservative Party, advising them on how to form a proper deal, because we didn't get the Dublin deal that we should have. And this is why now Farage is supposing that we'd leave the ECHR, because he then believes that that would enable them to send people coming from the English Channel away.
But it won't. But I don't think it won't.
It won't.
Because as long as people still come in, what are you going to do? Because these guys come in and be like, hey, my name is Abdul. I don't know where I'm from. I'm probably 13. I don't know what country I'm from.
Yeah,
I don't have any
13 with a
passport.
long beard. He's in primary school. Like, have you seen that, by the way? Secondary school. Secondary schools are now just being full of 6'4" Somali guys with long beards. I'm like, what the hell? I've
Yeah.
seen teachers tell me like, oh yeah, we've had to like make sure their details are correct. The details are just the self-prescribed or self-identified details of these people claiming asylum. And then, like, I used to take a bus route past a migrant hotel. All of these 50-year-olds had student 16 to 17-year-old student cards to get free bus services, and like all of the bus drivers were heavily skeptical. And it's like,
Did they go to your sixth form college as well, bro?
I imagine some of them, man, but like, you know, in the Middle East they grow beards quicker, so I don't know.
They grow a bit quicker. Yeah, good luck finding a 13-year-old. But this the thing though. As soon they actually get asylum, they get given asylum. Somehow they happen to have wives and 6 kids back home to bring. It's like, how did you get that done in a 13-year-old, Abdu?
Well, this is why we would consider them
I don't
economic
get it.
migrants, right? Because look, a very easy understanding is we get a lot of people. There's this like TV trope stereotype, right?
Right.
Of like in America, a guy from Mexico immigrating, got a green card, and he's sending all of his money back to his family in Mexico.
Yeah.
And that's what an American would call an economic migrant, because
That's
he's
right.
sending back money to his family. The family aren't like in tremendous danger. That's why they stay there and they like their home country. But what we're seeing is that these people now doing the exact same thing that these American shows were showing, they're not called economic migrants. They're called refugees for
Yeah,
whatever reason.
That's why you need to copy a little bit of what Trump is doing, because what it's called remitted that these guys were taking off, were basically capitalizing on sending their money back to Mexico or India or whatever place they're from. So they put tariff on that. So now when you send the money, your fees. Right now, if you was to send money to Africa, some other country, let's say you send money to Sudan, let's say you send £500, the fee will probably be £5. It's like, yo, that's not good for the UK. If maybe we can bump that up to like the fee will be £300, then it's like it makes no sense for them to send back. So that means they have to spend it here. They have
We
to
could also
contribute to
do
that.
what France does, and that like if you stay here for a certain amount of time, you can volunteer and actually work. The issue is that because we are taking essentially the rejects that France don't want, you're just going to see a bunch of undesirable social rejects now just working in
And
the
that's-
UK sector.
And that's why we have situations like Epping, because of course France said, hey, no, you're going to rape our children. I'm sorry. No.
They're sexually frustrated men who've never seen a white woman in their life. And look, this is incredibly racial in their perspective. What they've done is they're sexually frustrated. They're not allowed outside of their hotel for however long. They're on a timetable because for whatever reason, we have to ship in people from these hotels, kick out the original workers, send in people that deal with them privately. They're the ones that are taking care of them, putting them on the timetable. They're sexually frustrated. They're spending their time in this hotel made for, you know, day-to-day visits, a local business, bed and breakfast types.
Yeah.
Not made for this. And then when they go out, they see, because they live in predominant countries where extreme modesty is practiced, let's just call it that. They
Yeah.
see a girl in a school uniform who's white, who they either see as pure or kuffar, and they just exploit them. And
Yeah,
what do you expect? Because you barely speak any English, so you can't really understand the
You
English
can't
perspective.
Yeah, it's not like you're gonna go and talk to her up. Let's just say the girl was 23, over the age. These guys can't even talk to them. It's not like you're gonna go there and be charming and start doing the maybe we should do the young Bob style. Of course, you don't know the English, you don't know the thing, and obviously, as you said, they're
Well, I said
sexually.
this.
They're
I said
sexual-
it to, when I was protesting. I said to them, guys, you're doing it all wrong. They don't understand English. Like, well, how are we supposed to talk to these people? How
Yeah.
are they supposed to give us any like credible information about their asylum claim? They don't bloody speak English, and it's
Yeah.
not like off their exclusive merit that they don't speak this bloody language. It is based off the merit that they just don't speak English, they don't contribute to this economy, and because they don't have any shared culture, heritage, or contribute to this economy, they essentially are just there to take advantage of the United Kingdom institutionally, but for our younger generation. Now, I'm
Yeah.
a big component. The biggest thing that a family, community, and country has is its children. You fail the children when it
That's
comes
it,
to the
you're fucked.
population pyramid, you're gone. And this is what Japan is seeing. Like populationally.
Yeah, Japan. I think China is also seeing there's a lot of oldies in China's because that one
South
child
Korea.
policy messed them up. Now they're like, hey, start doing it, start doing it. Now they're paying people to do it in Japan too, because they're like, hey, we need babies.
South Korea is doing this as well, but what they're not doing is not incentivizing childbirth. They're just bringing in migrants. There's some cities in South Korea. Okay,
'Cause-
you go to Asia, what do you expect? A bunch of Asian guys.
Asian guys,
Go to
yeah,
some
Asian girls,
cities
yeah.
In South Asia and South Korea, it bloody looks like Birmingham in the United Kingdom now, which is incredibly scary.
I think there was a girl who was interviewed by a street guy. Some guy interviewed her in London, and they asked her, "What do you like about London?" Have you
looks like
watched
India.
this video?
Yeah, it looks like India, yeah, or Pakistan.
She
Yeah,
likes London because it looks like India. What? She thinks she's in Mumbai or Delhi. He's like, what, bro? Really, auntie? But that's the problem here. But let's go back to Keir Starmer, right? With this one in, one out deal. Obviously, you've shared your opinion on that. The reason why I think, obviously, I don't think this is the best thing that you can do. I think this is a weak move. One in, one out deal. There's multiple deals that you can do. He needs to strangle, not physically, he needs to strangle Macron and be like, bro, you need to sign this paper. And that paper says nobody comes in. But
like-
obviously, because he wants to hug him around and be like, hey, my friend, sign.
Keith Starmer, okay.
Mon frère, my brother.
Emmanuel Macron is like the most weak leader of Europe. He is like the
Exactly.
underbelly. He is the underbelly of leadership within Europe. And for whatever reason, Keir Starmer's having a difficult time with him. Like, what the hell? This guy's been accused of having a transgendered wife. He had a complete collapse in his government at some point because he's deeply unpopular. And even then, he's coming out with sly attacks like, oh, we never discussed migration and Brexit. Like, Keir Starmer, you were being wrapped around by a supposed guy who liked transgendered women. Get a grip, man. Where's the British bulldog in you? Like, my goodness. You could sanction them. You could declare France unsafe. You could send the people in the channel. You could protect us using your navy. There are so many things you could do. And right now, what you're just doing is giving them free cash. You're giving them £800 million in deals to the police to be armed enough to sort them out. And then the police, it's like an episode out of The Simpsons, really. You look at the police at Calais, they're driving past, they obviously see the dinghy, they stop, then they drive where there's a distance between the car and the dinghy, to which then they can claim the dinghy is already set off. And there's like, yeah, well, you know. we got we got the millions of pounds, you know, we don't need to do anything else. It's great.
So-
like, France are making money and making us look like stupid people, like
So
politically incompetent.
So they've gave these guys a sign or the mojo that says, if you are in the water, you can't go back. We're
Well,
gonna
that's
pick you
what
up.
The police are running off. Again, I'll defer to UKIP. I'll defer to GB News when we talk about anecdotally what we're seeing on paper. The UK government gave £800 million in deals that would essentially arm the French police to stop the dinghies from coming even an inch from the ocean, right? Now, what happened is that they found a loophole. If they were already set ashore, right? If the pirates have already cast the sails, you no longer need to, like, I don't know, maybe it's like a Lego advert. For whatever reason, the land
wanna
vehicle
pop the
isn't
thing.
compatible. Yeah, like, I just don't see why the French police are just being like this fat constable, this kind of understanding of the American police of incompetency, and not just stopping them when they can obviously see that they're going to set a sail. Like, the French police could work with the NGOs and kind of notify them when they're about to do this. There's so much things that the French police could do, but they're refusing to do it.
I think because this has been going on for in the highest number for 4 years now, the highest number above thousands. they could easily build up a tower next to the Cali and have some guys stay at the very top looking down with binoculars or something. Just look down. Anybody, if they suspect a guy with a dinghy somewhere, they just blew the whistle. Guys come in, they pop the boat, and they like go back. Done. Or maybe
Yeah.
they could just have people working. I'm sure this is a job that somebody would apply for. Hey, do you want to defend your country? Yes. All right, you're gonna stand here. 12-hour shift. You're gonna do rotate one in. You're gonna do rotate night
One
shift.
in, one out. Yeah.
No, in one. You're gonna do rotate shift. You do 12-hour shift. Somebody else comes. You go to sleep at night shift. Blah blah. All these things, right? They could easily do that, and I think that is a credible job. I think that is a good job for a young person to. I would personally do it. Put me at Cali.
It's
Put
a
me
good
a
army recruit as well, because like you'd be working with the Navy, and currently right now, in terms of young people joining the army, it's already successful. So what I call for is this gonna be a great army campaign. Yeah, like you want to pop a dinghy in English Channel, like join the army today, like join the Navy.
Yeah, I think you see these guys, instead of these guys getting arrested for jumping on police cars, they could easily find job where they can be patrolling the seas, patrolling the Navy with the Navy and just be around there. And therefore they're working, they're defending the country. And that is another somehow job created for K-Starmer. But guess what? Oh no, it's okay, let the dinghy in. Oh, they've touched the water, so let them in. That is
like,
silly.
it's kind of like a novelty, but remember during the general election when they suggested that national service should come back, just get kids in national service to do it. And literally all you'd need to do is some sort of detection job.
That's it. I'm sure there'll be a lot of young people who would want to do part-time or full-time or like full in to stop these guys coming in. To stop these guys coming and take their job, coming in and taking their houses.
This is what I like Nick for. Nick famously said, he said to me once, and he keeps saying this in interviews, like, everyone says, well, there's an economic benefit towards economic migrants coming in because they're essentially doing the jobs which we won't do. And he said, well, why can't we do it? Why can't we tell British patriots that you can have your heaven on earth and you can work for the jobs that are such high in demand, so much so that we need to import so many people into this United Kingdom? Like, what we need to do, and this is why migration isn't like the sole problem. You need several things. You need, in tangent with the reducing of migration, you need to bring a proper British public into like its fledgling, right? You need to have families. And this is why a lot of Christian parties suggest tax benefits, tax breaks, or even paying for people to have families within a marriage. Because if you have marriages, if you have children within these marriages and they don't divorce, you're going to typically see an increase in terms of successes that that child will have. That will, of course, lead them into better systems of understanding mentally.
Yeah.
So, of course, that will then encourage a drive to work in like the social sector. They'll do trade because they understand discipline from the father. So there's so many things that you could do just on a social level.
Yeah, just doing that itself, you just lower the crime rates just goes down instantly.
Yeah.
Just doing that. Knife, you won't see a guy carrying a knife. You won't see Darren with a 16 knife in his pocket. You won't see that. Because he has a dad, and the dad gets angry when Darren does something stupid. And Darren gets beaten, gets not just beaten, but gets punished for thinking stupid stuff. Because
Even
there's
within like a church model, right? So I don't know if you're Christian, I don't know who you are, but the sacrament of confession within
I'm a
the
Christian,
Catholic,
bro. Go on.
yeah, I don't know if you believe in the sacrament of confession, but there's still a degree of this within the Protestant churches because you, of course, confess the sins with one another within a local parish, right? And you believe there's a degree of accountability because you have a church, you have a pastor kind of preaching you good things, right?
Right.
So if you have a church model, like there's so many people within my Eastern Orthodox Church that will say a few days before Sunday when we want to approach for communion because we believe that this is the real presence of Christ and we cannot be guilty of any mortal sin without confessing that within the sacrament of confession.
Right.
That holds so much accountability because we don't want to disappoint our priests. We don't want to disappoint our friends within our parish who notice that we're not in the line for communion. So we will be accountable. We won't sin a few days before that Sunday. And even that's true with Protestant communities because their pastor at Life Group teaches them, well, this is a sin. And then God knows how people feel when they know God is watching them and they're stabbing them. They're stabbing someone.
Yeah, but
And that is why parties should push for governments to center Christianity into their structure.
Yeah, but that works only if people actually fully practice Christianity. Not, of course, we have a lot of Christians here. That's the highest religion in the UK, but not many are practicing as you think.
I don't even think you need to, because, like, I'm not even talking about, like, in the way of you understanding what God's watching. I'm talking within the parish. I'm talking with the people within the community, because church kind of
But then you have
reinforces the concentration of people within a community, and in that respect, people, regardless if they believe in God, don't want to be judged. And when you have this concentration of a community, you will be judged. Right?
What would be the task? I know what you're getting here, but what would be the task to do for the community? And of course, you don't have a community that has same thinking. You're gonna have to convince almost everybody in that community, like, hey, I know you're Muslim, but you know the pastor said this, and that's something that you gotta sell, bro. And I'm sure that's a tough one.
Multi-religious communities don't really work. Because we have this one religion here that believes in necrophilia, or there's one religion here that believes in child marriage. They have their different court systems, which are currently seen within the UK. Yeah, let's see how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck on
let's
that.
see how Muhammad Hijab's second wife is going, even though polygamy is banned. Let's see how that goes, because of course they can just report that to the Sharia courts. It's not a legally recognized marriage, but it will be within Islam. This is why I don't agree with full-blown sectarianism, but I do believe Christianity should be centered at the focus point of our government, because this is the most practical model.
How if you already got somebody like Angela Rayner, I think. Either it's Rachel Reeve or Angela Rayner. Yeah, I think it's Angela Rayner. Going out there, writing a model of blasphemy laws and dressing it up as the redefining of Islamophobia. Just a quick pause, guys. I need your help. We need your help, because this machine have tried everything. They've deplatformed us once. They've shadow banned us, as you can see from the views. Blacklisted us, and the channel remains demonetized. You want to know why? Because we report on something that they don't want you to know. But guess what? We're still here. We're still standing, broadcasting raw, unfiltered truth right through the technocrat machine that they want you to live in. They want your system. They want everybody to live in this machine, so then they can surveil and control and see what you're saying, see what you're not saying. But we resist that. But I have to be honest with you, yeah, we are running a little bit thin, and we need your help to keep this channel alive, because the bills, they can't pay themselves, as we already know it. The system, the server, the little crew that we got, the little studio that we have right now, it's all powered by you. All the donation that we get, it keeps this alive. This keeps the crew alive. And yes, I get it, they want to silence us, they want to shut down the show, because yeah, it's the last firewall between you and the psychological warfare that they call news. Because we tell the truth. We don't control the news. We give it to you raw, and you make your own decision with it. But here's the good news though, because there's many of us than them. Because we got a lot of freedom-loving warriors here listening to us like you. So I'm asking you, every listener who can chip in a few quid a month or once, not only gonna make us survive, but expand the team and expand the mission. So I'm asking you to keep us on air, keep the mission alive, and keep this voice on chain. Not just my voice, many other people who are asking for help too. So if you're able to, if you can, go to the link in the description, the first link in the description, just leave something, leave a donation. It could be 50p, it could be £50, 500, it could be anything. We appreciate it. And I want you to know this is not charity, this is a resistance. We're not here to beg, we're here to fight, as you already been seeing us fight. But with your help, we win, and we always win, always. Let's get back into the video.
Redefinition of Islamophobia is things that could be said against Muslimness. Great job, guys, come on. Oh my goodness, how incredibly thick are people when it comes to Islam? Look, whatever you can say against Christianity, you can say against Islam. And the reason why people don't do that is because they believe Islam is some sort of exotic religion. And I'm looking at like the hippie aesthetic, right? Hippies like things that are exotic and not of this country. As British people, we typically do. That is why a lot of British people go to Turkey, for example. We like different cultures. We like visiting different cultures. That is why Islam is doing so well in Europe. We like the idea of a different religion multiculturally. So the reason why Labour is protecting Islam, only God knows. They are just protecting a potential voter bloc. And this is why the left are so heavily entrenching themselves within Islam. This is why independent candidates within very liberal-leaning areas have been getting so much success. I think we have now 14 independent candidates within the UK Parliament,
Yeah,
and
but-
all of them, like, got off a ticket of like voice for Gaza. Now, I'm not going to say my opinion of Israel and Palestine. I don't really agree with what Israel is doing.
Yeah, Idris, I don't know, but I'm starting to. I don't know. I was super Israel forward type of person. Like, hey, Israel gotta do what it needs to defend itself. But now they've passed that threshold to defend themselves. Now I think, in my opinion, they are killing a lot of
of
people
course.
now.
I agree. But my point is that the people that are supporting Gaza and Palestine, they're of a certain liberal and left-leaning influence, right? The people at the Palestine marches are the people with goth hair, right? I stand with the innocent, persecuted people of Palestine, but the
Yeah.
point being is just that I don't like the people supporting these people.
I think that's the problem. You have a genuine problem. You have genuine people being killed. I mean, new reports are coming out, over 100 media outlet or over 100 institution are verifying it. That means the right and the left and center are verifying that it's true. Now, this is a bad thing is happening, but then you have the media politicized to score some wins, and that creates a problem to people like us who just wants to find out the truth. And then on these marches, on the pro-Palestinian marches, it's becoming more of like it's politicized as well. It's not just like, hey, I care for the baby, but no, I care because a lot of people care for the baby. They're gonna vote for me, and
Yeah,
I
and it's
think
just
that's
like
the problem.
the people that were like, you ever see that Green MP being elected, and in response, all of them were screaming, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar.
Yeah, I think that was Muffin Ali. Is
Yeah.
I think somewhere in Leeds.
The point being, the people that are being voted off this, I say Gaza ticket, right? It's not a bad thing what they're promoting, but it shouldn't be the center point of their campaign.
That's right.
They are building a Muslim voting bloc, and that is my concern. And
Yeah.
that is why the Labour Party are trying to redefine Islamophobia, but have never talked about Christophobia. And that is why I'm a part of the Disciples of Christ protest organization, protesting against, or rather for, the persecuted church. But look, the reason why Labour are protecting the Muslim vote is because they want it, and secondly, they're a bunch of hippies and they like multiculturalism for whatever reason. I mean, why do you think like Sadiq Khan is practicing Muslim but goes on about Pride Month? Like, how is that compatible in his little head?
I think he knows he has to, of course, you know. I was gonna say something, but he has to
Panda.
kind of lubricate. It's an extreme terms. The lefty who support him all the time, and
Wow,
also.
Pride Festival is a lot of lubrication. Trust me, there, man.
All right, you're not young then. All right, okay.
There's a
Just
lot,
make-
lot of lube.
Yeah, so he has to defend and help and be like, hey guys, look, the lefties, look, I'm still the same. You know, I don't mind you guys doing all this, but then he has to not be too extreme on this side, so then he doesn't lose the Muslim, the ones who are like, hey, do this, hide your face, do this.
The
So
unholy alliance, because it's unholy manageable and it's just gonna fall in itself in a few years. Like as
It
soon
will.
as soon as they get like a coalition, like as soon as like the Workers' Party or like the Your Party get into
But she
some
ca-
sort of like government level power, we're gonna like, okay, we're finally gonna have this discussion. Trans rights, what do we think? And then like, Muhammad Abdul, whatever his name is going to be like, well, Allah in the Quran says that any man that wears the dress of the woman is a curse. So we don't believe in this transgenderism nonsense. And then like the liberal guy is going to be in utter disgust. And then this is where like it completely falls within itself. And that's why I actually
but the-
respect the head of the Workers' Party, because he said that he is vehemently against trans rights, and quite rightly so, because the people he pesters to probably thinks they're in hellfire.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of fight. I don't think they're gonna go so far. I think they're gonna be successful at causing chaos and getting the media attention, but they won't be successful at leading the actual country. The reason why Labour is in right now is because a lot of people chose not to vote. The reason why Labour is in right now because the Conservatives like literally shut themselves, not in the head, but not in their leg, but in their head for for all the problems that they could not fix, and now they are trying to redefine themselves like, hey, we care. Hey, look, illegal migrant, we want to stop it. No, you were there for 14 years. He went up under the Liz Truss. He went up under Boris Johnson. He went up under Sunak. And you did nothing. Now somehow you feel like, oh, man, we want to save it. But
like, Billah, I've only predicted 18-6 this next general election. It's like, well, yeah, you deserve it. Because firstly, you've picked like the most unelectable leader that no one knows the name of. They even did that in their their mayoral elections. Her name's Susie, I believe it was, on the lines of that. I don't know what the Conservative Party are doing, but they're dunces. Like, I don't know why. Like, if you pick a strong leader, like, I actually believe, and I still hold to this position somewhat, in terms of like the pragmatical Conservative voter, because I will vote ideologically. Like, I have to vote on who I identically believe with. And this is why I support UKIP, right? Because I'm a Christian nationalist, or I support a Christian nationalism within the United Kingdom. But saying that, I do know there's a voting block of people who vote Reform, who vote for the Conservative Party, because it's pragmatical. It's going to be the party that gets in. And in that case, I actually believe the best alternative is not a new party to kind of get every Conservative into the Reform. I actually think if you got like a strong Conservative leader like Jacob Rees-Mogg, or you got someone like Rupert Lowe in front of the Conservative Party, you completely went back to the whole gentleman Conservative aesthetic. You don't seen as incompetent. You could go very far, but then you just had like, the likes of Nigel Farage being opportunistic and kind of taking over the scene.
All right, let's talk about Nick Tinconi. Sorry, not just Nick particularly, but the UKIP. We got UKIP now. We got Advanced UK. We got the new thing that it's not a party yet, but it's probably gonna turn into a party, which is I don't think it's Advanced. It's the other one.
Restore Britain.
Restore Britain with Bennaby, with Rupert Lowe.
I can break it down all for you if you want to do the
We got all these parties, and now and now you still think, well, a lot of people who were UKIP have moved to Advance and Restore Britain, leaving UKIP around, and people are saying like, hey, UKIP has a lot of these historical problem. We don't want to drag that to us. We want new starts. So Advanced UK is the best. So now give me your take on how UKIP could potentially
be successful.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so firstly, I've been introduced to this concept as well. It's called like the British pound. It's the Christian voter bloc. So right now, the Christians kind of vote towards the Conservative parties, even though the Conservative parties don't really push Christianity at its forefront. So I believe that if Nick Tinconi is incredibly promotable on social media, right? He's doing very well. He's kind of taking from a lot of aspects of the popular elements of conservatism. So I think he'll go far coming near to the next general election. Given that, I think he can galvanize Christians into forming this voter bloc of Christians like the Muslims are doing. So he'll be successful in that way. Now, in terms of other alternative conservative parties, like Advanced UK, like Restore Britain isn't a party, it is a pressure group. So it's just like anyone can sign up, even members of UKIP. I've been tempted to, but right now my budget's kind of strained, so I can't always like support these like pressure movements. So the issue of Rupert Lowe is he's gonna be like 70 if he ever try to seek some sort of leadership position in the next general election. Advanced UK, I support as an idea, But because it only has Christian undertones, it hasn't really focused on Christianity. I just can't really take myself to vote for it. And lastly, the reason why I always back UKIP is because I believe Nick is a genuine Catholic. You see a lot of people claiming Christianity, especially from like the evangelical lot in America, and I don't think they're very sincere. Like if you ever saw like Trump's video on like, what's your favorite Bible passage, and he's like, well, I don't pick, it's the Old and New Testament. It's great. It's fantastic. So I just think that he's a genuine Catholic. He's a great guy. He's very
He's a great
social
guy.
media, like promotable. So,
But-
I think there's a chance. Never say never. I think Reform UK, for example, was only really being talked about in like social media, like 2 years or even a year before the general election. So, I think, and also I wanted to say this finally. I don't know if you've ever watched Mighty Python's Life of Brian, but there's a very good joke that is applicable to alternative parties, and it's one guy goes up to the other and is like, "Are you the People's Front of Judea?" And he's like, "No, we're Front of People's Judea." And the whole point is that they're different splits. They use the same 3 words within their name. They believe in the same thing. They just disagree with one another due to egos or due to the way that they particularly agree. So
Is that you describing Nigel Farage and UKIP, or is that you saying all these
that's why I'm
free?
describing Farage. Farage is very egotistical. He's already kicked out so many of his MPs. He works in a very particular way. I think when it comes to people that you either have ego, and we have people working in a very particular way. So a lot of people in Speaker's Corner, for example, don't work with other US apologists because US apologists speak in a very particular way, and it isn't compatible with the way that British apologists work. That's not ego. That's just people going off and doing their own thing. So
Right.
you kind of see that as an element within these parties, and you also see ego. With Nigel, it's ego. He abandoned UKIP because Tommy Robinson became an advisor, and he was too scared to be associated with Tommy Robinson. I think that's completely despicable what he did with Tommy, especially in very recently. Him kind
Yeah,
of
with the attacks and the
yeah, like there's no need. You just
yeah
wouldn't have
unprovoked
to.
attacks.
There would be no need because now you have, and this is why I believe you can do incredibly well. You have this, and I call them the Green Conservative voting bloc. And the reason why I do this is because essentially the Green Party is what I believe UKIP is on the right. It is the properly refined conservative understanding of what the conservative movement is.
Yeah, but you see, almost the whole part of this podcast, you've been mentioning Christianity. Christianity, this it needs to be here. You believe that Christianity needs to be a part of the government. It needs to be the front of the community and all these things. Why do you think Christianity would be the hammer to this problem to fix this whole issue here? And give me like 3 takes what difference Christianity would make, especially with if you see these pro-Palestinian marches, pro-Palestinian, the places like Birmingham, places like Bradford, which I was there a couple months ago, places like Blackburn, which I was there last week, places like Rochdale, which don't go there due to how dangerous it is. But tell me, how do you think Christianity will solve these sort of places?
Well, Christianity is like a sort of banner, does well in terms of integration. It's good. It's just like good intermediator between 2 countries' cultures. And what I mean by this is that, well, you could have, and I find this weird as well, within like Greek Orthodox parishes, you're now seeing different cultures kind of play with one another within the church, right? So it's a good intermediator. What I mean by this is that you have one Asian guy from a different completely culture from a British guy, right? Let's just say they randomly approach one another and they try to speak, right? They can't really say a lot. They don't really understand a lot of one another in terms of their language. But they do the sign of the cross. They do a pray that they understand. You would hug them. My brother in Christ.
Right.
So let's just say we look at Birmingham. There's certain areas which has a complete lack of social integration. They're incredibly divisive towards one another. If these people were all Christians, Christianity could be an intermediator between 2 different completely separate cultures.
But someone else could argue if all these guys were Jews, it would have been a good problem. Or if all these guys were Muslims,
Judaism, you can't be I don't think in the same way that an Arab can be a Christian and a British person can be a Christian. Have you ever seen a culture integrate with Judaism? Like Judaism has a very distinct, because it's an ethno religion, right? You have to accept the Jewish culture in order to be accepted into the Jewish religion. And then same is with Islam. Islam is very Arabized. You have to go to Mecca as one of your
Medina,
five
yeah.
pillars. You have to read the Quran in Arabic. Like every single
Yeah,
religion.
your whole thing changed. You get a new
And
name.
it-
You have to go to a different country. You have to
Yeah.
dress different. You have to eat some certain food in certain times of the month. You have to, yeah. So I get that you have a lot of things of your life change, and yeah, even the
Yeah, like
people you
can
met.
go
Yeah,
to like you go to a Jewish community in London and you step a few meters in. It's like bloody hell, all these people wearing big hats, like oh my goodness, they're not speaking like the language, they're reading a different, completely
yeah, in
different
Hebrew
language.
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I get. I get so with Christianity, anybody can be a Christian, black, white, Asian, anybody can be a Christian, and you don't
Yeah.
have to dress in a certain way to identify as one. You don't have to go to a certain place to identify as a Christian. I get that, but if you go to Birmingham and you try to say, hey, the reason why Birmingham is not as integrated or a part of it's not as integrated as a place in Winston somewhere is because of there's no Christianity on it. Then somebody else could argue, hey, what if Birmingham was all Islam and maybe we could have our integration here. Somebody
Well,
else
yeah,
could
yeah,
make
but
that
like, we'd
argument.
have
What do
to-
you say to them?
Well, firstly, like I said, like Islam is Arabized. Every single British person living in Birmingham would then have to accept Arabic, accept certain dresses that they don't traditionally wear.
You'd be
That's my first-
surprised how many parts of the UK have accepted that, boss.
And secondly, like, is Islam particularly moral? No. I don't think Islam legally, in terms of Sharia, in terms of morals, is ever like advisable. Like my biggest issue with Sharia law is just like there's better models of law out there. So Islam
I
can just be
agree with that.
refuted in terms of like its moral and law system is just like way out of whack for me to ever advise anyone outside of the position of their religion being true for them to kind of chase up there.
Yeah, but okay, I get that, but because I'm trying to understand why Christianity will be a better solution for Britain and how it will bring that will make the country better, safer, and
Christianity is just
proper.
integratable. Like Christianity is just integratable. Like in the New Testament, there is no like strict laws on Christianity. There's no strict culture that a Christian must
Isn't
follow.
that the reason why we're here though? Because it's very like the British thing that we follow is very we accept anybody. We are
Well, no, because there are certain like so what
we
I mean by this
welcome
is,
anybody.
so firstly, the Christianity still has like essential moral teachings. But what I mean by laws is that laws is something different from moral teachings. They may influence one another, but there's certain like purity laws, like indecency, for example, what we can and can't wear. Like these are all purity laws. And within
Yeah,
the New
yeah.
Testament, it's kind of up into interpretation according to the society, right? And that is why I believe Christianity is more integratable. Now, in terms of the way that people try to argue that this means that Christianity is weak, well, no, because Christianity states, well, the best thing that you could do for one another is lay down your life for your friend. The
But
best thing you can do is to love oneself, and to love oneself is to want the best for oneself. So you shouldn't fall into sin. You shouldn't let other people within your community fall into sin. And that
Yeah,
kind of
I totally agree with that. All these are good stuff, especially if everybody is out there to do the same for you. But if you are living or with people who are there to exploit this, they take that in, and that's why we're here today, where the laws are.
I think what you're looking at is the heresy of niceness when it comes to our understanding of love. Love is wanting the best for someone. That is incredibly harsh. I believe that even wrath is considered a form of love, for example, because it's wanting the best or giving the best for what someone has done, right? That is why I believe that if someone in my family is abusing substances, the best loving thing for them to do is to slap the drugs out of their hand and chuck them in rehab.
That's
Now,
right.
within liberal society, love is understood as just an affirmation. You must
Yeah, like, hey, you can be
affirm what they believe.
affirm
You
what
must
they believe. Yeah,
affirm. Yeah.
which is a
That is
problem.
the heresy that the church has openly condemned and rejected throughout time. Even second century church fathers like Tertullian speak about love just simply wanting the best for someone, and that is not the understanding given within the West. The understanding given within the West is like complete acceptance of someone.
Yeah, and I think that's where we are today, where you get prime ministers and you get ministers who are out there saying, "Hey, you want Islamophobia? All right, I understand. Let's do it." It's not like, "Hey, I get it that you want Islamophobia law, but we're in the UK. We don't do blasphemy laws. The last time we did, it was 2008, and we cancelled that. We all fought for that, and we took that off. No more. And nobody has. Well, not many people have been arrested for blasphemy because we don't apply it. Of course, a lot of people now have been charged for religiously aggravating somebody else. Somehow, that's a new.
I've been assaulted by a Muslim boy in my secondary school for supposedly having a Quran under my waist, which is against Islam. And I was told that was a just reason for why he should randomly assault me.
So that's, of course, if that happened before Angela Reyna defined, well, obviously she's not defined yet, but she's working on it. She's doing 12-hour shift on this. Once that has been defined, you won't just be arrested. You won't just be hit or sort of these small assault. You'll be punished heavily because that will be a new law.
Your right to complain would be taken away. That's the point.
Instantly.
The right for me to complain about Islam when a blaspheming law is introduced by this dystopian understanding of Islamophobia would be gone.
I think the right for you to even debate.
Oh yeah, Speaker's Corner just wouldn't exist.
Yeah, it won't exist because anybody can come there. Anybody can come there and be like, "Oh, you're so," call the police. That one, I think the only thing that people will be talking about Speaker Corner will be gender stuff, and maybe.
Yeah, like, it would revert. No, it wouldn't even do that because Islam. It would then become like the Masjid of Hyde Park.
It'll be cultural thing as well can be used as Islam, violating somebody else's religion.
No, because imagine this: someone sets up a trans stand. Okay, I'm a transgendered individual. You know what? I want to speak about why pride is such a good thing. Okay, Muslim goes up, brother, police officer, constable. I found this person suggesting that the image made in Allah could be a woman is just offensive. Can you get him for blasphemy? Like blasphemy, because it's an offense towards a particular understanding and belief, could be applied to literally everyone because everyone that's not a Muslim is straying away from the belief, and anyone who strays away from this belief could be seen as being offensive.
And I think that's super vague. That'll get everybody banged up.
Oh yeah, like I don't know. There's a hadith that say that black people are raisin heads. You're black. Get out.
I think Angela Reyna she's doing it because she's indebted to give those guys back because they elected her. She knows she's there because of them. So she's like, hey, maybe there was a back end deal that said, hey, vote for me and I'll get this passed. And I think that's what she's just trying to give back now.
Imagine her being suddenly against this. Her constituency would just like, she would never be voted again. She would just be
exactly.
the M leader in like the last.
Same with Jesse Phillip. That's why she gave away the grooming gang, and she looked away when she was asked to announce a national inquiry multiple times.
Pakistani gangs, yeah, like there's a good reason why there's been redactions in certain reports of Rotherham where they've redacted the word Pakistani from these reports. There's a good reason why they've done that. And it's simply because unpopular.
Yeah, you know why? Because she knows without this, she probably read these reports and she was like, okay, we got to remove that because my constituent will be mad. And of course, I want to stay in next few years to come. So we got to remove it. And that's what they did. And I think we're going to see more of that.
Becoming a grift. Like the political class are grifters. They'll say whatever means. Like this is true of
whatever is popular.
Like, you can't be a one policy party, right? Essentially. And this is why UKIP and its previous... And then look, I can condemn a few things that UKIP have done traditionally. There wasn't a UKIP supporter through and through, right? The UKIP and Reform being a one policy party initially, right? It's just going to go badly. There's no performance track record. There's no alternative B solution to their issues. There's nothing. There's no infrastructure. It's just, we don't like Brexit. We don't like immigrants. We
I've-
don't like this. As all the substance of a one policy party is.
I think it seemed like Nigel Farage wakes up and be like, "Hey, post this." It's like one of those things because they've done 180 on most of the things that they ran on last year. So
Yeah.
you sitting here, you like we see Nigel going out there in a fancy suit, calling for mass deportation and doing all these things and saying all these random stuff. And then one interview with GB News, he said, "Hey, I'm not interested in it." I'm like, what?
Because the
That's what-
milkshakes dried up, the controversy dried up. It became too normalized in the media for that word to be used, so you didn't gain any retention. But then also, he believed there's no practical element, nor does he want to overpromise because he's a charlatan. I actually generally believe that Nigel, probably a nice man to speak at the pub, but it's
Yeah,
probably
I'm
not
sure.
the best.
It looks like a guy you would engage with. I find him quite fun, to be fair, to listen to, and I think he's a guy who speaks what he means, but he means business to get in.
Yeah.
So he only speaks to get your support. But I think he's actually a cool guy. I would wanna interview him. I'd wanna chill with him in the pub because I find him funny.
Small steps, me first. Nigel on a few.
No. It's been great talking to you because one is because you are really young to
Thanks,
be
man.
having this. I think you're the youngest person. One of the youngest person I've had on this podcast. One is called Charlie. Have you heard of that? The kid
Charlie Simpson?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had him on. Obviously now
He
yourself.
follows me on Twitter.
Oh yeah, sick guy. Yeah. You recognize your kind, right? So yeah, that's pretty cool.
One
So-
of us. One of us.
Yeah, one of us. That's pretty cool. And because we're running out of time, now you become this person, and you've told us what you went through, the bullying in your school, the people that you listen to, fanboy off. I don't know if you accept that. I know you. The people that have contributed to this person who you are today. Now, there's a lot of young people out there who would watch this and be like, "No way, I cannot become that like Kim. No, he's way too good. Where do I start?" What's your message to those people? Because of course, the country needs a lot of young people like yourself. You know.
Two things. There's a reason why. Okay, this is where I promote myself a bit. I am
Go
the
on.
Youth Ambassador for Turning Point UK. That is an organization which essentially organizes debates, to which then I am now tasked with kind of finding young people to kind of make Turning Point what it is in its US counterpart. My first thing. My second thing is I am the CEO of an organization called Cross and Corner. That is essentially getting people from Speaker's Corner into churches, teaching apologetics, what they've learned from the corner, and kind of transferring it outside of that. So which then I also need young people as well. So, given that, if you're like 15, 16, 17, I think anything below the age of 15 is just ridiculous. Like, go back to year 10, get in contact with me. I'll speak to you. I'll see if you're genuine. I'll see if I see a bit of me in you. I'll help you.
You see a bit of them in you.
Yeah, I wanna help other young people, and I think it's incredibly easy. I don't think you need my help, to be honest. Just get off your lazy backside. If you get out on a Sunday to Speaker's Corner, you'll see me.
So this is the place where they can find you, right, on Twitter, yeah?
Yeah, and it's also at YoungBobTPUK.
Right.
Actually, you should go down and you should
Oh,
probably
yeah,
find it.
there's you. Nice.
If you go down,
Young Bob.
Young Bob. That's my personal.
This is your personal one. This is the place where they can find you.
Yeah.
All right, great. So, guys, please go and support Young Bob. And also, you forgot to mention why they should. What
Why they
sort
should
of?
follow me.
No, just follow you. How to become, and what to look for to
You're
follow
gonna
your
see
path.
more Camden Town videos. You're gonna see more Change My Mind videos. You're gonna see more Muslim debate videos. You're going to see more political content. I am probably standing as a UKIP candidate, most likely. Probably going to be stuff on that front as well. So what you're going to see, ladies and gentlemen, is a bit of politics, a bit of religion, a bit of controversy, a bit of discussion. And you're going to see my lovely character just like have my face on as many things as humanly possible. And not because of ego, not because I like controversy, not because I like fighting, just because I think it's bloody funny. That's why.
That's pretty cool, but sounds super hubris. Ego is your enemy. Have you read that book?
I've heard of the expression, but I've not heard of the book.
I think,
and I do not have ego. I just
Ryan Holiday. This guy is, I think this guy is like a stoic of our time. Ryan Holiday makes a lot of stoic books. Look it up. Ego is your enemy. This book helps me all the time. Every time when something's going good, I read this thing. If we're doing good, I read this.
You're gonna get real ego from speaking to me, man. You know, like
I'm definitely gonna read this after you, bros. Feeling a bit hubris right now. But thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you on. I would want to have you again, possibly maybe before the year ends, and see.
Schedule's too big, man. Come on, like
we'll schedule something.
Your assistant, you might have to call her, you know, see what's available, see what's
your assistant, yeah, I'm sure the schedule the booking is so full they can't get you on, but yeah, we'll squeeze ourselves in. We'll charm ourselves through it. But I'll see you on the 13th of September. Will you be there? You'll be there, right?
Yeah, I think I've got something planned.
Yeah, that's good.
Little wink,
yeah. A little wink. But thank you so much. And guys, this is Young Bob, the one you've been asking for. I hope I got the right one. I hope.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye. You've been silenced for very long, and every time you try to resist, they put you in jail. For my children. You've controlled your mind for so long to the point where you let them decide what your kids should learn, what gender they will be. And now you've let them to come for the whole nation, destroying what Britain once stood up for. They use this media machine not to report the facts to you, but to tell you what to think and what you should do. Always be careful. They're hiding the facts behind the noise, and they're recruiting pedophiles to tell you how to behave. And these politicians who meant to protect you, they're out there smashing your head on the ground. And no jail time for them. This road we've been on has been very dark for a very long time, and it's time to shine a light on the truth and advocate for justice. We the people make the nation, and if we don't stand up and advocate for justice, then we certainly won't make this nation great again. So we have to create a place for that, a place that can contribute to a more informed society. And that place is Next Frontier Media.